Hey, thanks for stopping by Mystic Messages. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please keep in mind these messages won't be for everyone. So if they don't apply, please let them fly. And they will be received in divine timing for those who need to hear them. With that being said, let's begin. Today's message from Source is thank them. Thank them for the isolation. Thank them for the rejection. Thank them for the ungrateful behaviors. Thank them all because they did you a favor, and so did Source. Most of all, thanks Source, because what was happening was when these particular individuals were revealed in your life, especially if you're currently trying to ascend on a path of spiritual awakening. Certain individuals, and a lot of times they're going to be friends and family members, which are occasionally used by the darker forces as a vessel. Lower vibrational souls attract the darker entities that work through them and with them unknowingly. So these people will show up in your life, family and friends, those who you're close to. And it's a painful experience, but they will show up and show their true colors. And that is Source revealing to you who people actually are and who needs to be eliminated from your life so that you can move forward in peace. Okay? So again, Source wants you to thank them because they are the ones that are going to make you grow. All the hurt and the loneliness that you're feeling, the rejection, only makes you stronger. And trust me, I've been through it. Okay? So I know that whoever I'm speaking to, you can do it too. Let me give you some courage to do it because even though it's difficult and hard and heart wrenching, you will get through this and your eyes will open up and you'll learn to understand in the spiritual realm what actually takes place in your own environment. You know, I see many of you out there that you've given so much to family and friends, and yet they still reject you. They talk behind your back. They want to hurt you. Friends, ex partners, ex relationships, all done the same. This is a path that those who are chosen go on. We get rejected, we get hurt, we get maligned. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what the divine realms thinks of us and what we think of ourselves. And the divine realms loves you just as you are. So you're never alone. I personally appreciate my alone time. Many people ask, why are you always alone? Why do you want? Because I don't want to be around negative energies. I don't, most people in my life, unfortunately, family, friends, exes, what have you, it's been everyone, are nothing but gossips. They're greedy people. They're ungrateful. Nothing is ever enough, you know? So I appreciate that Source has shown me who these people were. And yes, it's painful at first because you feel like you're all alone and you're going to feel like you're all alone. But I'm just here to tell you, Source is here to tell you, speaking through me, you are not alone. You are loved. You're not broken. You just have to search within yourself and get out there and try to surround yourself with people who are on the frequency that you are trying to attain. And the only way to do that is by deep introspection, going deep within. And that takes time, being alone to allow and allowing the universe to lead and guide you. Because when you're around these types of people, these negative people, your thoughts are unclear. Okay. Personally, the further that I go down this journey, I have cut almost everyone out of my life. And if that is, and if it isn't on a physical level, I have done it on a spiritual level. I have disconnected from anything, and I refuse to allow it back in. You know, for example, I also do reviews for Amazon. Okay, and through those reviews, I write a review and I receive a product that I write the review on. And what I do is I receive the product in exchange for my writing. Okay, and when I tell you that I've given, I didn't keep those gifts to myself. And I got really great gifts from mattresses to carpets to lighting fixtures, plumbing fixtures, what have you. I shared them with everyone, friends, family, you know, and yet nobody appreciates. It's never enough. I actually get told, what do I do for anyone? Which is actually ridiculous, and I'm sure that some of you can relate out there. And I thought to myself, I said, geez, I said, I got to go through this shit from people. I said, I have to, always be on the giving end. And who gives anything to me? I'm not the kind of, and not that I expect anything from anyone. And when I give something, I give it with all my heart. But I didn't expect the disrespectful, ungrateful attitude that I received in return. You know, anything I've ever given to my cousin, another example. She's constantly crying every time I give her something. Oh, I have nothing to give you in return. But every time you turn around, and not that I want anything from her, but this is her own guilt speaking. Okay. She's out eating at restaurants, running out with friends, doing, buying clothes that she'll never use. And yet she turns around and says she doesn't have the money to give something to someone else in return, which is bullshit, point blank. And again, not that I care because it's not important. What I give it from my heart. And whatever it is, I don't look at the monetary value of it. I was entitled to sell those things that I received, but I chose to take some of those things and help people that I thought were in my circle who cared about me. Even though I somehow underlyingly knew that they really couldn't give a shit if I'm alive or dead. And that doesn't matter. I've learned to see that. And I thank them. I thank them for showing me that because all of that hurt and that sadness that they try to impose upon me, or rather, should I say, the spirit that is using them to impose that upon me, only made me stronger. It only put me right here in front of you now. Giving you a message from source, giving you a message from other ethereal beings. To help guide you, to get you onto the path of understanding that things will come in your life. And I'm going to go back to the Amazon thing. When I first saw that Amazon was offering a service of people doing reviews in exchange for free products, I said to myself, I said, God, I would really like a situation like that. And I never thought that could possibly happen to me because you had to be chosen by Amazon. And within a month or so after me saying that, I received a notice from Amazon. I couldn't believe it that I was being invited to their program to write reviews in exchange for products. That's how God works. He sends you surprises like that, even when you're not expecting them. And I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for that. And I like to share my appreciation and gratitude, you know, with others. But unfortunately, the people that I was currently surrounded with are just not on the same type of a mindset. Nothing is ever enough for them. My whole family, my entire family, I have 18 first cousins, each one wealthier than the next. They share nothing with nobody. Nothing. And I'm not talking about a little bit of money. I'm talking about people who own six-bedroom yachts, mansions, 250 acres of farmland, you know, that they live on. And yet they wouldn't part with a dime for anyone or to help anyone. When my house burnt down, all these same people didn't say to me, hey, let me give you $100, which they could have wiped their ass with, to help you out. And not that I wanted it, but you know what? I'm glad they didn't offer it because I don't have to be grateful or indebted to them for anything. Because unfortunately, that's what a lot of people are. They want you to be indebted to them. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to change because of what other people do. And I know you might be feeling bad right now, but don't allow that behavior to change who you are. Don't allow ungrateful people to close your heart chakra and say, I don't want to share with anybody anymore. Share with those who appreciate. This is why I always recommend give to a stranger on the street. I rather give now whatever abundance God sends me. I want to share it with everyone. Not just for myself. I don't need a lot for myself. But I always said if I had lots of money, I would share it with everyone. And that's what I intend to do because hopefully one day God will bless me with that to enable me to share with others, which is what I want to do. Because basically, all I want out of life is a tiny little two-bedroom home somewhere near the water and walking distance to things. That's it. That's all I ever wanted in life. And a good person to share that with. Someone who's honest, decent, loyal. And unfortunately, many of my past relationships were nothing but narcissistic sociopaths. And again, I realized that was being sent to me. Those people, again, I thank them for all the problems they caused me. From everything that they took, I thank them. I thank them and I pray for them because they brought me to where I am now. They helped me develop my closer relationship with Source. I've always, from growing up, I've always had psychic abilities that I was taught to suppress. We didn't speak about those things. You don't see ghosts, you don't talk to these things. And I suppressed them, which was the biggest mistake, trying to conform, trying to please other people. We don't have to please anyone but ourselves and Source. And that's it. And if somebody doesn't like you for who you are, and somebody doesn't see your heart for what it is, you don't need them around you. And isolation, believe me, it's not so bad. It's tough from time to time, but I don't ever feel alone because I'm in constant communication with the divine realms. And even when I'm not, I'm keeping myself busy, writing reviews, thinking of different things that I want for my future, planning certain things, and that's where my head is at. And I'm sitting there, just waiting for my turn to come, and it will, because I believe and have faith, and I've seen, and I'm appreciative and grateful of even the small things that I received, you know, and that's what we have to learn to look at too. We don't have to, get, huge things right away from source and say, oh, wow, now I'm going to start to believe. No, start with the small things. Be grateful for the things that you have in your life and be grateful for your enemies first and foremost because they teach you. They teach you which mistakes you were making and what not to do again. And what that taught me was that everyone is not welcome back in my life. There's many people from my past who all disappeared from me after my ex created such a chaos in my life that you wouldn't believe. And every single person who I thought was my friend ran to the four corners of the earth. A majority of them. Not one person said, can I help you out? These were people that ate food in my house continuously, shared my roof when they had no place to sleep. There was always a blanket and a pillow in my house, and I shared it with all my heart. Unfortunately, I didn't receive the same in return, and again, that can be painful, and I know a lot of you out there are experiencing that right now. But please understand where it's coming from. It's not you. It's not you. These are the sources trying to defeat you. These are the negative energies trying to prevent you from moving forward on your path. And we have to be strong and make sure that we're not going to let that happen. As difficult as it is, you can do it. I got faith in you. Just keep moving forward, and use your alone time. And you don't have to feel obligated to go when somebody calls you, especially if they call you from out of the blue and need something and have a feeling somebody's going to be getting a phone call about something. Someone who hasn't spoken to you in months, okay? And every time, the shit hits the fan for them, they call you. Now, God has given you a test there. The divine realms are giving you a test. Are you going to let this person disrespect you, or are you going to kindly say, you know what, I can't do that now. I have to take care of something for me. And if they get angry, let them get angry. That's on them. It has nothing to do with you. You don't owe anything to anybody. So, with that being said, I thank everyone for being here, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.